Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm gonna start. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام على شهيد الشهداء. السلام على قتيل الأدعياء. السلام على ساكن كربلاء. السلام على الجيوب المدرجة. السلام على الشفاء الضابلة. السلام على النفوس المستلمة. السلام على الأرواح المختلسة. السلام على الأجساد العارية. السلام على الجسوم الشاهبة. السلام على الدماء السائلة. رحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. أما بعد، قد قال الله في كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. Dear brothers and sisters, Salamo alaikom wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, first of all, I want to talk about quickly that initially when I was deciding a little bit of ziyarah there, that's from Ziyarat al-Nahiya. I was just taking part of it, it's a very small section of it. It's a beautiful ziyarah, in fact. It's actually the most beautiful ziyarah of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein that I've ever seen. And it's basically a ziyarah that Imam al-Mahdi Jalla Ta'ala Jafar al-Sharif recited himself for Imam Hussein. It's a little bit long, so if you have the time, or if you can't even do bit by bit of it every day until you finish it off, it's very, very beautiful ziyarah. It might help. And so going back to our topic that we were discussing last time when I was speaking, basically I started talking about Imam al-Mahdi and how is he connected to this whole purpose of Imam Hussein. Okay, so one of the major reasons why we look at Imam Hussein and we go after his teaching and so on is based because we want to know how should we deal with our Imam. What do we need to do to bring his reappearance closer? We learn from other Imams in order to apply it with our Imam. So number one, I want to talk about is the fact that our Ashura, you know how we say كل يوم عاشوراء وكل أرض كربلاء, so every day is Ashura, every land is Karbala. Our Ashura and Karbala is happening right now. Okay, we need to, when these things happening, we need to look at ourselves and see what do we need to do to be the companions of our Imam. When we look at the companions of Imam Hussein, we need to look at what qualities they had and what quality do we have. How can we be closer to them? What do we need to do? Because Imam Hussein said, Hal min Nasir yansurna, he's asked, is there anyone to help us? Well, Imam al-Mahdi has basically said that in long time. He's waiting for us to be ready so we can actually help him. Listen to this very carefully, okay? So if every single day that actually going past an imam does not reappear, that just tells us automatically that we're not ready for the imam to come. Imam does not have enough supporters, which means if Imam al-Mahdi were to come, probably the same thing that happened to Imam Hussein would have happened to him. Because we are not there for him. We are not like Abu Fadl Abbas. We are not like so there needs to be enough of us to reach such a level to be able to help the Imam in his mission. Because honestly, there's gonna be, when Imam Ajallah Ta'ala Sharif reappears, there's gonna be a group of people, and this group are going to be actually Muslim, Shia. They're gonna see it, and when Imam comes and says, they're gonna tell him, and they recognize that this is the Imam, and they're gonna tell him, Ud ya ibn Fatima, go back. We don't need you. We don't want you. We got everything under control. We got it under control. We don't need you in our life. There's going to be people like that. How can you make sure we're not going to be part of those people? I want to ask a very, very critical question. It's a rhetorical question. You can think about it yourself later on, but it's a question that you really need to give an answer to it eventually at some point. And the question is, why do you want the Imam to reappear? Really, like what do you think the Imam will do to your life that's going to be different? See, when this question usually gets asked, a lot of people saying, oh, well, look, there's poverty in Africa, in Afghanistan, there's bombing and killing and all this happening. When Imam comes, none of this is going to happen. It's going to be peace, all this. Well, if you think about it, okay, yes, so someone who is in Africa would want the Imam to come because of those things. But when you're sitting here, really, a lot of us we don't really feel the need for the Imam. And that's the biggest issue. Okay, it's a really big issue that we need to really think deep down and say that it's the fact that every day we cannot see the Imam, it's a big, big calamity that we're in a way. But we need to come to understand the position of the Imam, what the Imam will bring to this. It's actually going to be a very big lecture if I want to talk about those things in detail, but I'm going to start going into some of the main things. Okay, so I started by going through a verse from verse number 30 in Surah Baqarah, and the verse goes, it's basically so basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the angels. So he says to the angel, basically, I'm going to read it exactly and then I'll explain it. And when your Lord said to the angels, indeed, I will make upon the earth a successive authority. They said, will you place upon it one who caused corruption therein and sheds blood, while we declare your praise and sanctify you? Allah said, indeed, I know that which you do not know. Look, my focus is really like the fact that there's two things here. There's there's lots of tafasir on this, but I'm going to focus on the last bit of this, okay? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَالَ إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first of all, He agrees. He's not saying anything like, oh, no, you're wrong to the angels. You know, they're going to do fasad. No, they're not going to do fasad. He agrees with that. He knows they're going to shed blood and so on earth. But he says something, inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. So basically saying that I know something that you don't know. So basically, in a way, there is a time that will come that us human beings willingly, we will eliminate all corruption and remove all corruption from everywhere and make the ultimate peace everywhere, essentially. So because if all those things are going to happen, and it says, I know something that, it's like, for example, it's saying that I know something that you guys don't know. It's as if saying that I know that this is not everything that you're thinking about. There's going to be a time where all this is gonna not going to happen. essentially. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the angel something special here. And it's very important. So this tells us that obviously there is going to be a time that this is going to happen. And obviously we know that when Imam al-Mahdi comes, these things are going to happen. Okay, so there's going to be peace, there's not going to be fasad, there's not going to be bloodshed and all these things happen. Okay, so yes, when he comes, initially there are some things to remove all those corruptions, but then there will not be anything after that. Okay, so that's very, very important for us to understand that because it gives us a purpose in life. And I'm going to go back to, I'm actually going to go a little bit more back even before this. Okay, so this is really, this part is before the creation of Adam and Eve. But really, let's go back a little bit more from the Quran again. Okay, Quran also tell us something. It's basically Alastu Rabbakum Qalu Bala. So that the whole verse, I'm not going to recite the whole thing, but basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is a day which we call basically Yawm al-Alas. It was a day where we were asked about existence. So we're going to come to this existence. And so they showed us what existence looked like and all that. Everyone really liked it. They loved it. They wanted to come to this dunya, this world. Okay? So everyone wanted to come and basically see this beautiful world actually existing, to come to existence essentially. Okay? So we see all these, and then there is like so basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts a condition on this. And then like the actual question what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks is not really mentioned in the Quran, but it goes into a hadith and tafasir that we come to a few different things, okay? So he asks the question and everyone agrees, everyone says yes, we're gonna do. So I'm gonna give an example first, and then I'm gonna explain this further. Okay, so first of all, imagine at a school. Okay, so you all go to school, so you understand this probably better from the school point of view. So imagine in a school, the school comes and tells you, like the teachers, they come and tell you that there's gonna be tomorrow you can wear mufti, so you can wear basically you can come without without the school uniform. Everyone starts cheering up, everyone gets happy, yeah, that's it, whatever, yeah. And then he says, but there is a condition. If you're gonna come without your uniform, you need to be at your best behavior tomorrow. Now everyone's gonna say yes, we're gonna be at the best behavior. But there are some people who know that they're gonna muck up, but they're still saying yes, just to get it. And there's people who truly saying that yes, we're going to behave and we're gonna do this because we want this to be a natural thing. So we actually want this to be, we wanna be good on that day. We wanna be out of uniform. So now there's a difference between the two. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to test us. He brings us to this world and he starts testing us. Now, actually there is a lot of, when you go into Hadith al-Qisa saying that we will not create this existence, this world, none of these, if it wasn't for Ahl al-Bayt. So you can see that probably the condition that they asked was something to do with Ahl al-Bayt. And then in the Quran, multiple times it's asking us about Ahl al-Bayt. It's telling us, Ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. You obey God, obey the Prophet, and obey ulil amr, which is the Imams and Ahl al-Bayt. So obey them, follow them, so on. So now, here's come a very big question. Some of us who didn't really mean it over there, okay? Some of us who didn't really mean it and we said, yes, we're gonna accept, yep, we want this existence. We're gonna be the one who's gonna start deviating from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those of us who are true when we say that, they're gonna come back to the right path, even though we may go a little bit deviate in the way somehow and then come back. And this is what it is, okay? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide everyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the guidance to everyone. But if you don't take it, you are the one who's going to be at loss. So I'm going to explain Sirat al-Mustaqim, and then from there we'll put all this together and why we're talking about this, and we'll make sense out of it. Okay, so Sirat al-Mustaqim, which we say it's the only dua that we have to say. Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, guide us to the right path, to the straight path. We say that every day in Salah, and we have to say it. So this dua is very, very important. Okay, that's why we have to always say it. Now let's talk about Sirat al-Mustaqim, what it is. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Okay, let's say I want to come from Liverpool to Campbelltown Mosque, Al-Mahdi Mosque. I want to come from Liverpool to the Campbelltown. Now there is one straight path, the right path. I'll just take the M31 and I'll just come, and that's what's going to guide me straight to the mosque, hopefully. Okay, so that's the path I'm going to take. If I take the right and the shortest path, which is the quickest path, that's what we call Sirat al-Mustaqim. You take a pen, you put 2 points. The quickest way you can join those 2 points is through a straight line. So there's a straight path, there's a right path. Okay, so now let's go back to there's actually this thing. This breaks people into 4 categories. One person here wants to go to Campbelltown, takes the right path, and he gets in the car and he starts going like he doesn't follow the rules. He doesn't follow the rules, he speeds, and then he passes a traffic light and whatnot, and he starts getting penalized on the way. It's gonna take a long time for him to get there, or he may not even get there. He may be like, so it's basically all these things. So you might get stopped by a car, all these things might happen. Okay, but he's still on the right path. He's still, like, every inch he's taking, he's still going towards the right way. And then there is another one who follows the right one, so he basically follows the right path and basically follows the rules. Remember, the rules are basically the Sharia laws, the laws that Allah subhanahu, the fasting, the praying, the zakat, all these things that we have to do. Okay, so Allah subhanahu has given us this. Now we're doing it. If you do it correctly, that's basically someone who is a mu'min, who knows the path and follows all the rules. And then there is another person, okay, that going in the wrong direction completely, takes completely wrong path, and he's going different way. And this person might be following the rules. This person is called munafiq, because by following the rules, everyone looking at him. So if someone is praying, fasting, everyone's doing, oh, this is a moment, but he's actually going in the wrong direction. In his heart, he doesn't want to go there. In his heart, he's actually going somewhere else completely. That's the munafiq, hypocrite. Now, another person goes in the wrong direction and doesn't follow the rules. That person completely lost. Okay? Completely lost. They're not going to get there, and they're probably going to get, like, going in the wrong direction. They got to get stopped like 100 times by the cops some fines and extra. Now, what I'm trying to say is, the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is clear. Imam al-Hussein made it very, very clear that there is no ambiguity. He put everything in such a perfect way on the day of Ashura. He put things together in such a perfect way that there is no way people can make a mistake again. You cannot mistake in the path anymore. Yes, you may still go in you still may not follow the rules properly, but the path, you cannot go wrong anymore. If you actually study the Karbala, Ashura, and Islam and so on. Why? Because when you look at the story of Ali al-Asghar, for example, you look at the story of Ali al-Asghar, the world will shake. Everyone will know that if these people were on the wrong path, if they were doing the wrong thing, at least the 6-month-old baby, it does not deserve to die like that. But when they did this to him, that shows which side is who and what's the right path and so on. Okay? So without making it very boring and so on, so I just want to make sure that that we understand what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to say that we have a mission. Okay, we learn from Karbala, Ashura. Our mission is to support the Imam. This thing is going to happen from the verse we looked at. So the rising of the Imam will happen. We need to choose whether we want to be the one who's going to help him or not. Really, okay. And let me quickly talk about a couple of things that also happened at the when we did when we say the Alu Bala on the Yawm al-Alas, on that day when before existence and so on, something really, really important happened. Some of the ulama, the scholars, they actually believe that we decided when we want to be as well. We decided when. Okay? So imagine we came to this world in this time and age. In fact, those people who really were confident with themselves. Now, this goes both in the worst people and the best people. Essentially, the worst people chose the last days as well. The best people chose the last days as well. And I'll tell you what, okay? Two reasons. Number one, there is a hadith of, so basically there's a hadith of Rasulullah, and he's sitting with his companions, and he says, and then he stands up and he says, where is my brothers? And then all the companions look to each other and say, Ya Rasulullah, we are your brothers, we are your companions, the closest to you, you know? But Rasulullah says to them, he says, no. He says, you are just my Sahaba, you are my companions. Okay? But my brothers are the one who will come later, at the later time. Those people who believe in me without seeing me. Those people who will look at the black on the white, which is basically pen writing on a paper. So paper being white, the black writing, which is basically the ink that you're writing. They look at that and they believe. Meaning that we look at the ahadith and we believe in Rasulullah. We accept Rasulullah. We follow the Imams without even seeing them. So Rasulullah here is saying that we are like his brother. Those people who are on the right path in this time, they're like Rasulullah's brother. So we're very close to Rasulullah in that sense. But at the same time, one reason why he's saying it, the other reason is there's many hadith that says that, for example, to be religious in the end of time, it's very, very difficult. It's like holding a fire on your hand. There are a hadith that says someone goes a mu'min in the morning, comes back as a kafir or munafiq. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is like the fact that you guys come to the mosque, you listen to these lectures, you have a high position right now. Don't lose that. But let's work on it to make it better. Okay? So the fact that we chose to be in this time, essentially, we actually asked a big thing. Okay? So we've got a big responsibility. And at the same time, we talked about like the bad people who's going to be, the worst people going to be here as well, because as the technology has increased, as the things have increased around us, it's becoming very easy to commit sin. It's becoming very easy to be in the wrong path, right thing. And it's always the hardest thing. Usually the hardest thing is the one that actually matters and is important. Okay, so the easy thing, committing sins, doing this, everyone can do it. But to be pious, to be God conscious, to be a mu'min, to be a believer, it's very difficult in this day and age. And that's what we need to work on. So now, so I want to quickly talk about a little bit I'm not going to have a lot of time as well, so I'm going to try to make it a little bit quick as well. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about the story of Ali al-Akbar and Ali al-Asghar. But before that is basically they are the symbol of being firm on our religion. And today's day, in today's world, it's very difficult to be firm on our religion with all these things that is happening. With all this coronavirus and social distancing, and we cannot really, come to the mosque, and we cannot let like the fact that we commemorating Ashura, commemorating Imam Hussein like this, it's actually something that we need to be very, very mindful of. That in a way it's positive and in a way it's negative. Negative, in a sense that many of us, that before we used to be coming in the large gathering and do it, commemorate Imam Hussein, and we don't have that opportunity anymore. But at the same time, we're not forgetting Imam Hussein. At the same time, we're still doing something about Imam Hussein. And at the same time, these online things it should go everywhere. Everyone should hear the message of Imam Hussein. Why? Let me give you one reason, and I'll move on to the stories because we're not going to have a lot of time. One reason. The reason is when Imam Mahdi comes, when he reappears first, he's got a few sentences. He's gonna say, there's a few sentences that he says basically initially, Allah ya ahlal alam, or the people of the world. He's talking to everybody. He's not talking about Muslim or mu'min. He's talking about everyone. Allah ya ahlal alam, everyone around the world. Okay, Allah ya ahlal alam. Ana baqiyatullah. I am the remnant of Allah. I am the remainder of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to do on this earth, and He kept me away, I am that person. And he says, and then he goes into straight away, he wants to introduce himself. So he's introducing himself now. Yeah, he says, Inna jaddi al-Husayn qatalu atshana. I am the one whose my grandfather was killed thirsty. And he's mentioning his grandfather, Imam Hussein. My question, and there's a few, three, four different sentences here that he says, Zabahu Atshana, so they killed Imam Hussein, they slaughtered him while he was thirsty, and so on, and a few things he says there about Imam. So there's like 4 or 5 sentences that he says, about 3, 4 of them is about Imam Hussein. And my question to you is, why is Imam talking about Imam Hussein when he's talking to everyone? And I'll tell you why. The reason is because everyone has known about Imam Hussein. The Christian, the Jews, no matter who you are, you know who Imam Hussein is by now when the Imam comes. You should know. And through Imam Hussein, you know Imam Mahdi. He introduces himself through that. So it's, in a way, it's our mission today to let the message of Imam Hussein go everywhere. So when Imam Mahdi comes and he introduces himself with Imam Hussein, everyone knows, oh, I know that man. I know Imam Hussein. I know who he is. So this must be the Mahdi. So they know exactly who is he. So we have a responsibility, brothers and sisters. Now, in Ali al-Akbar, okay, there's a few things here that I want to talk about his, that has happened. So there's lots of things that from Imam Hussein goes from Medina to Mecca, from Mecca to, he's going to Kufa, but obviously he stops at Karbala. He gets a stop actually at Karbala, and he basically stays there. And Ali al-Akbar, throughout this journey, is coming with Imam Hussein. He's listening to the lectures that he's doing, his sermons. He's telling everyone about Imam Hussein. He's telling everyone to come. See, like, the most beautiful thing about Imam Hussein is that he's trying to guide people no matter what. At his last moments, he's trying to help people. At the beginning, he's trying to help people. At every moment, he's trying to help them. He wants them to be saved. Okay? He doesn't say, oh, you killed my son, you killed this, I want to, no. He wants to save them, help them. I'm going to tell you a couple of things about Imam Hussein before going back to the story, okay? A couple of things that Imam Hussein does that is unique, okay? Number one, Imam Hussein, when he's getting ready to go to the battlefield, we all know the story where he gets a old clothes, so clothes that is dirty, ripped, and so on. He wears it, and Sayyidah Zainab asked him, "Why are you wearing this clothes? Why are you not wearing like you just gonna?" He says, "Because I know that they're probably gonna come, and they're gonna because just to take like some the spoils of war, people are gonna come and trying to get whatever they can. They might come and take my clothes off, and I don't want to be without clothes lying on the floor. So I'm cutting this shirt apart, I'm making it look old and so on, so they don't even take this. So they see it and this doesn't worth anything, I won't take it. And they actually took that one too. That's how treacherous they were on that day, those enemies of Imam Hussein. And then this part of it is very beautiful, okay? Imam Hussein, and then Sayyidah Zainab looks and is like, oh, Imam Hussein starts to wear another beautiful clothes on top of that. And he's like, so why are you wearing this one now? He says, I want, because when that person comes to take my clothes, I don't want him to go empty-handed. I want him to take at least some clothes from me. That's unique. You don't find that anywhere. You see, when Imam Hussein is fighting before, after, at any given time, he's just trying to guide the people. He's trying to tell them, look, I'm on the right path. He's, like one reason why Imam Hussein prays in front, Salat al-Khawf, and he actually loses half of his companions there. Well, Imam couldn't pray in the tent somewhere, at the back somewhere. He could, but he came at the front. He prayed. He loses half of his companions there, but he knows all his companions that are going to be killed, they're going to heaven. He wants at least one person, two person, or someone from the other army to be guided also and come to the camp of Imam Hussein, and that's what has happened. A lot of people actually came and joined Imam Hussein's camp, and they helped Imam Hussein. So Ali al-Akbar, it was the first person from, so initially each from the companions of Imam Hussein, they went first, one after another. They all got they were martyred, and then when it came to the family of Imam Hussein, Ali al-Akbar was the first one that put his hand up to go. Ali al-Akbar was أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا to Rasulullah. So you can imagine how hard could it be for Imam Hussein. But with all that, he as soon as he comes to ask permission, he says, he bid him farewell, and he tells him to go and bid farewell to the woman, and you can go. And as the Imam, as Ali al-Akbar finishes farewell and he wants to go, he goes on the horse. Imam Hussein helps him to put him on the horse. He goes on the horse and he sees that Imam is keep looking at him. He turns around and he says, oh Imam, oh my father, why you keep looking at me? And he says to Imam, he says, because if you had a son like yourself, you would know what I'm talking about. He goes to the battlefield. He fights valiantly. Some narration says he killed up to 120 of the enemy, and he comes back. He's tired. He wants to get a little bit rest and go back to the battlefield. Imam Hussein gives him, he's thirsty as well. So Imam Hussein gives him a tiding, a glad tiding. And he says, look, in a few moments your thirst will be quenched by Rasulullah himself. He gets happy, he gets back on the horse, and he goes back to the battlefield. He fights again. He fights again until he gets killed. But when Imam Hussein goes to get him, he's been cut into pieces. Erban erba. And it's very difficult for Imam, and Imam cannot even carry him, and he asks for the youth of Bani Hashim to come and help him. And the other story that I wanted to mention quickly, I won't go into detail. In fact, I can't even discuss the story of Ali al-Asghar in depth because I just can't do it. It's very heartbreaking for everyone. So Ali al-Asghar, being a 6-month-old baby, was very, very thirsty. And when Imam Hussein wants to bring him out, he says something that he's basically... do you know what taladdi means in Arabic? Taladdi is when we look at a fish, when the fish is very, very thirsty, okay, so fish comes out of the water, becomes very thirsty, and he's dying. And there's a moment like he keeps jumping up and down until you put him back into the water. And when you're done putting him back into the water, it gets to a point where he just keeps moving his mouth up and down, like his lips up and down. And that's what we call talazzi. It means, and in that moment, if you put the fish back into the water, it will still die. So Ali al-Asghar has reached the state. Imam Hussein wanted to get him some water. But at the same time, Imam Hussein wants the other opponent to be guided. Even if he guides one of them, even if one of them turns back and comes to Imam Hussein's camp, they are saved from this. So he comes and he takes him outside. And I will not go into the detail of the story, but basically Ali al-Asghar gets killed as well. And basically, at any opportunity Imam Hussein found was trying to guide the opponents and trying to get one or two or whoever he can from the other camp to be guided. In fact, when Imam Hussein himself is actually fighting in the last moment, and when he's fighting, he basically hits one person's leg and his leg gets cut off and he falls down. Imam Hussein walks up to him and the man is very scared, thinking that Imam is going to kill him and so on. And then Imam says to him, what do you want? What do you need? And he says that, let my people come and take me. I don't want to die and so on. So Imam calls him to come and take him. See, Imam is not about, I want to kill you because you killed my son, my family, all that stuff. No. Imam is beyond all that. One person being killed here or there, it doesn't worry the Imam that much. What matters is that people to get guided. That's what he cares about. And this is why the biggest thing that has been mentioned in Karbala, the thing that we cannot even comprehend, is the fact that when Imam Hussein is killed and everything's finished and so on, Zainab al-Kubra comes and basically grabs Imam Hussein and he says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, taqabbal hadha al-qurbani al-qaleel. Accept this small sacrifice. Small sacrifice? See, like we